All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Blindside Blitz. It is Super Bowl week. We are taking interviews all week long, and we are pleased to be brought to you here by Grumblings Media. We have Mark Eckel with us in the house. Mark, pleasure to have you with us tonight.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, and of course, my compadre here, getting it down every single week, Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Blitz Nation? Welcome back again. And I got to tell you guys, if you're an Eagles fan, if you follow the Packers, this is the guy you want to talk to. So, Mark, we're happy to have you on here. We're going to get right into this thing. I got to ask you, I got to start off with the Eagles, man. I got to get into some of the things here. So in the last 4 seasons under head coach Nick Sirianni, there has been 4 offensive coordinators. You're talking about Steichen. We know that he became a head coach. Brian Johnson, Kellen Moore, and then recently Kevin Patullo. And now they're announcing that they're hiring Sean Mannion as the 5th offensive coordinator. Why is there such a quick turnover under Nick's leadership?
Well, 2 of them, as you said, left to get head coaching jobs. So that's a plum for Nick to say that his guy got hired, right? So with Steichen and Kellen Moore, that was good things. That I mean, they moved on for bigger and better things. And I
Motion.
think that's the problem. And that is that Philly's a tough town. I don't know how well you guys know Philly. I mean, they threw eggs at Kevin Patullo's house last year. They like threatened his
Yeah.
I don't threaten, but they called his daughter, and it's awful. And it's not all Philly.
Crazy.
It's a handful of idiots. But I think, and that's why it was hard. I think for them to. I mean, Sean Mannion's a good young up and coming coach, but I don't think he was their first choice by any means. It's tough because all right, so Steichen got a job because they went to the Super Bowl. Kellen Moore got a job because they won the Super Bowl. The other 2 guys didn't do poorly. They were in the playoffs both years. They won the division last year and they lost in the playoffs. And they fired Patullo. Like so basically what you just said, if they don't go to the Super Bowl, you get fired. Well, it's not easy to go to the Super Bowl every year. So it's a tough job, and I'm not there anymore like I was every day for 30 something years, but it seems like Nick, I don't know what he does. I know he's the CEO today, right? All that kind of stuff, but I don't know what he does because he certainly doesn't have anything to do with the defense. That's Fangio now, right? I mean, that's I don't even know if Fangio even lets him know what's going on.
Right.
Offensively, I thought he was the guy. I mean, I thought, okay, he has a coordinator and he lets this guy call plays, but he's still very much involved. But then I saw that clip from the last play of their season, basically, against the 49ers, 4th down, they call timeout. Jalen Hurts comes over to the sideline. Kevin Patullo has the play sheet on the clipboard in his hand. Hurts comes over. Now, you couldn't hear what they were saying because I didn't have audio, but I had video. And you see Hurts talking to Patullo. And Sirianni's like standing around looking around and going, hey.
Yeah, like not even involved.
And Hurts nods his head, and then Patullo points to something else, and Hurts nods his head again. And they go back out on the field, and I'm like, man, the head coach has nothing to do with this. I'm a little baffled by. Listen, I can't rip Nick Sirianni anymore because the man went he's made the playoffs 5 straight years, and he's gone to the Super Bowl twice and won one. So, and he beat Andy Reid in the Super Bowl. So, I don't know. That's a weird situation in Philly. Right now. And now they're talking to Vic Fangio. They had to talk him out of retiring, and he's still thinking about it. So that's going to be a real interesting story to follow in the next couple of months to see if he actually. Because I think Vic's the kind of guy. I don't know him real well, but I mean, I've dealt with him. I mean, he's been around 100 years. I mean, he's not going to do if he wants to retire. He's going to retire. He don't care. I mean, unless they just keep throwing a lot of money at him, maybe I don't know.
Right.
But again,
Convince him.
Right. And here's my and this includes me, and I can talk myself with this. If you're thinking about retiring, you're retiring. Like you're in. If that thought crosses your mind, you may as well do it because your heart's not going to be in it. Your head's not going to be in it. And that's why I retired. I covered the Eagles 32 years, and I really lived that old motto that if you like what you do, it's not really a job. Last couple of years, it became a job, and I knew it was time. So maybe Vic might be on that same wavelength. Like I just don't enjoy this anymore. So that's going to be interesting to follow with the Eagles. What happens?
I mean, very.
I always kind of question that with the Eagles and their head coaches. There's so much talent all around on that team. You're almost like all you got to do is just not screw it up, or just kind of and that's what it seems like he's kind of doing. It's like I just got to kind of keep these egos together long enough to make this work. But now it kind of seems like every single year there's some kind of turmoil going through with AJ Brown and whatever. now it seems like, again, it might be falling up here, but next year, maybe they'll bounce back and make another Super Bowl run. So I think it was hard for them to find another offensive coordinator just because, like you said, if you're making the Super Bowl every other year, that pressure to kind of perform is got to be there, or else you might be out.
No, absolutely, and it wouldn't be the Eagles without a little drama. I mean, it's all go back to the Buddy Ryan years, and they were fun. They were a lot of fun. That's when I first started, and I didn't know. I kind of walked in. I didn't know what I was walking into, and I was like, "Wow, this is kind of crazy." And then even and then you had the TO year, the not even a year and a half. That was insane. There's always something. I mean, it's just Philadelphia in a way, and it wouldn't. They're never boring, good or bad. They're never boring, and yeah, like they do have talent, like you said. I mean, you have. I like Jalen Hurts. I know people. I'm not a see. I don't play fantasy football, so I
Mhm.
guess he's not a good fantasy player. So that's how
Yeah.
people look at football now is, are you a good fantasy player? But he wins
Right.
games. He finds ways to win. That to me, that's all that matters. He has a great running back in Barkley. He has, I think, arguably the best duo of wide receivers in Brown and Smith. Good tight end who they were begging for anybody to trade for last year, and they didn't. That was like the best trade never made because Dallas Goedert had a sensational year for them last year.
Oh, yeah.
The offensive line isn't as good as it was, and it's getting a little older, and it was a little banged up last year, but it's still not bad. And then defensively, they have some good players. Vaughn's a good linebacker who they found
Mhm.
by accident almost. Jalen Carter is not the nicest person in the world, but he's a great player. Jordan Davis had a very lost some weight and got in shape and showed what he could do. I love the Mitchell kid, the cornerback that they took in the
Yeah.
first round a
Yeah,
couple of years
Quinyon.
ago. Cooper did. I mean, yeah, they're loaded with talent, but they had no reason to. I didn't think they were gonna go back to the Super Bowl because it's just hard to do.
Right.
I thought that I was really surprised, and nothing surprises me that much anymore. I didn't think they'd lose at home to San Francisco. I really didn't, and I have proof of that by if you look at my bank account that I didn't think they were gonna lose to San Francisco. So, I did okay the rest of the week, but I did not think they were gonna lose to San Francisco at
Yeah,
home.
you know?
No, I thought
Exactly.
it
That's the
really.
thing is Jimmy touched on it. You mentioned it a little bit. The guy's name is AJ Brown. With
Mhm.
rumors swirling around with this wide receiver and the weird, awkward. You don't know the conversations on the sideline that are being had, but it almost looked like disagreements at times.
Mhm.
But do you foresee AJ Brown like maybe asking for a trade request this offseason or whatnot because of all this kind of turmoil?
I think he already has, and I don't know if he has to ask. I think it might be
They might
time
move
for
him.
him to just yeah, they just
Mhm.
I mean, great player. When they traded for him and they got to the Super Bowl that year, I thought it was the best trade in Eagle history. I really
Mm,
did. I mean,
okay.
I prior to that, I thought it was the Bill Bergey trade back in whatever year that was. That was even before I was covering him. But I mean, to get a guy of his talent, I mean, he gave up a one, sure, but it
Yeah.
was a low one.
Mhm.
But I'm not there every day like I used to be, so I don't know what the
Right.
problem is with him. But there's a problem. I mean, that in that Niners game that we just talked about, he looked like he wanted to be anywhere but there. When he dropped and
Mhm.
he never drops passes. He dropped 3 passes, like, gave up on some routes. He just looked like, "I don't wanna be here anymore," and my guess, if I had to guess right now, I would think Mike Vrabel would love him back to get back with him
Oh, yeah.
with the Patriots. I mean,
Mhm.
if
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken, isn't that what caused Vrabel's downfall in Tennessee when the GM Robinson traded Brown? I think Vrabel kind of went off that, "Why are you trading my best player?"
Yeah.
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 That kinda led to the GM and Vrabel having words, and next thing you know, Vrabel's fired, and Tennessee's gone 6-28 since then, so
Yeah.
says a little bit
Exactly.
about who was right and who was wrong, maybe.
Yeah. Yep, you should just listen to him, right?
And
I'm
there's a
saying?
lot of teams
Yeah.
that need wide receiver. I say the Patriots because of the Vrabel connection.
Yep.
Yeah.
Buffalo Bills can certainly use a wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can go on and on, but,
Yeah, there's always teams looking for those playmaking wide receivers too. It's not
right.
just any wide receiver. AJ Brown is
No,
one of those premier playmakers.
he's top 5 in the league, I think, right? I mean, I don't top of my head, I mean, Jamar Chase,
Oh, yeah.
Justin Jefferson, obviously, but he's right there. I mean, when he wants to be. Again, if you
Mhm.
just watch the 49er game, you wouldn't say that, but that's why
Right.
there's something going on that we don't know about, or we do
Yeah.
know about, we just don't know exactly what it is.
Most likely. Absolutely. But now I want to get into the Green Bay Packers
Mhm.
right here. Switch. We'll flip the switch here. We'll go with Jordan Love. I know that Jordan Love throughout this past season, leading into the wild card game, there was some inconsistent play throughout. Love struggled under pressure, ranking him 38th in yards per attempt. Is he still the long-term answer for the Packers?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, see, I watched every Packer game this year. Love, if you just look at the box scores or just read the stats, yeah, it looks like Love was a. No, Love's. I think Love's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I really do. In the NFC, I'm not sure there's anybody in the NFC I would take over him right now. I mean, Stafford had a better year, but I'm not. I mean, if I'm the Packers and every team in the NFC called me and said, "We'll give you our guy for Love," I don't think I'd say yes to any of them. AFC, there's a couple I would, but no, Love's problems this year were inconsistencies from his receiving core. Again, they had injuries all over the place. Once he lost Tucker Kraft, his tight end, that put a big that was a big loss on their
Mm,
Yeah.
offense. Then
yeah.
his receivers, they did okay, but they were in and out of the lineup. Wicks had some injuries. Watson
Watson missed, like,
the
the
first
first
half of
half
the
of the
year,
season.
and but came
Yeah.
back remarkably. That's a guy I'll tell you guys this because I've said it a million times, but I was wrong about I didn't like that pick when they made it. I
Okay.
wanted Pickens,
Yep.
and I still wouldn't mind Pickens, but I just I'm see I have this little prejudice in me. I hate to say it, but if I have a choice between a guy from Georgia and a guy from North Dakota State, I'm taking a guy from Georgia 10 times out of 10. I'm going to be wrong
Oh, yeah.
some I'm going to be wrong
Yeah.
some, but
Mhm.
Mhm.
I'm still going to take but I'm going to be right more than I'm wrong. So
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't want the small school. Not it's not that high. If you want to take a small school guy in the 5th round, 6th round, I got no problem with that. But that early, so and I made that clear that I didn't think this was and then he struggled a little bit early, but man, hurting his knee might have been the best thing ever happened to him because he came back. He was making. I mean, early on in his career, he was a run a deep route, throw the ball to
Yeah.
him. He might catch it, he might not. Now he's making like tough catches. He's
Yeah.
not just going deep; he's going over the middle. He's become a pretty good player. I was happily wrong about him. But back to Love. I mean, that playoff game, Love was great. I mean, he threw 4
Yeah.
touchdowns, no interceptions. It wasn't his fault they lost. I mean, you could blame a lot of reasons why they lost that game, but Love wouldn't be on the list.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
so
he
I,
gave it all on that one. Joe,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. Go, Joe, before you move on to the next one, now you bring up Love. I remember even back on X, you had posted, I think back in 2024. If you look back at 2020 draft, people who said, Jordan Love is going to be better than Jalen Hurts, they would be right now. But
I like them
Jalen
both.
Hurts,
Hurts is more accomplished, obviously, because like I
Mhm.
said, he's been to 2, and I like both of them.
Mhm.
If you look back to what I wrote before the 2020 draft, and
Mhm.
everybody was talking about Burrow and Tua and Herbert, I wrote a column saying, "Don't forget these 2 guys." And I
Mhm.
had a funny headline about Love Hurts or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
Uh, no, I like both of them. Listen, if Jordan Love had Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, and Saquon Barkley,
Yeah.
and the people say to me, "Well, you know how Philly is, or they ripped
Yeah.
Randall, they ripped." Yeah, well, those guys didn't win. They ripped Randall Cunningham because he didn't win. He didn't win. He didn't win a playoff
Mhm.
game in Philly. That's all he won one. He beat. Then they ripped Donovan, well, because he didn't win a Super Bowl. Well, Hurts has. Hurts has
Yeah.
gotten it to won
Not good
one,
enough.
right? Was MVP of the one he won, and would have been MVP if they would have won the other one. He outplayed
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes in both
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
maybe they were spoiled when Nick Foles won one for them. So they're like, if Nick can do it, why can't you do
Well,
it,
see,
man?
that's the thing. I
You
guess
know,
if you're an Eagles quarterback, you can't just throw touchdown passes in the Super Bowl. You have to catch one
you
too.
catch them. Yeah.
Yeah, right? You got to run the Philly special and do everything.
Unfortunately for the Packers, though, this past season, they pull off this mega trade. Micah Parsons gets sent over to help that defense, and they definitely could have utilized it. And they did for a little while. Goes down with an injury, ending his season. He's due to be back healthy next year. All indications are pointing that direction. But with him returning to the team next year, and like you said, Jordan Love is an ascending player, is one of the best in the league. And this team is pretty young. I know that they got some
Youngest
key
Ellen?
free agents that may stay, may go type of thing. But even with that said, do you think the team has enough to get over the hump next year and push for that Super Bowl?
Yeah. Well, they have to do. It's funny you said that. I just wrote a story that'll go up on Packer Report Friday morning, Thursday night, Friday morning, saying what their needs are and what they do have to do to be playing this weekend next year. The biggest hole is a cornerback. They need better than what they have there. They have Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, Nate Hobbs, who was hurt most of the year.
Yep.
That's not good enough. If you want to get to a Super Bowl, you need better than that. Not that those guys are bad. They're okay if they're
Right.
your 2, 3, 4, 5 guys, but not your. They need to get better.
Right.
They need a. They have stars everywhere else. Parsons is a superstar defensive end, edge rusher. I think Edgerrin Cooper is going to be a star linebacker. McKinney is a star safety. They need a star cornerback to make that whole defense right. If they improve corner, and they could probably use another big defensive tackle to stop the run up front. They'll probably draft one if they don't sign a free agent. But they really got to fix the corner. If they fix the cornerback room, but let's be honest. I mean, they were 9-3-1 and looking and like I think they were the number one seed at that point in the NFC when Parsons tore his knee. So they were on pace. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not
they
saying
were.
they would have been there, but if Parsons doesn't get Parsons, Kraft, again, I hate to use injuries, but they did get some injuries this year. But
Right.
if they didn't lose Parsons, I don't know if they'd be in the Super Bowl, but I think they would have played Seattle last week in the NFC title game, and then whoever won that would have won.
Yeah.
I think they would definitely beat the Bears. I think they would have beat whoever they played in the second round, probably the 49. I don't know how that would have broke up, but Seattle. Hey, listen, Seattle's good. So
Yeah.
would have been a really good game.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that at week 1 and week 2.
Yeah, talking on the defense one last time before we move on to the game. Now they bring in Jonathan Gannon as a defensive coordinator. Joe and I kind of was liking what he was kind of doing with Arizona. Didn't exactly meet expectations all the way, and the last year's defense not so good, even with adding some of those additions here. But what do you see for expectations here on this defensive side of the ball and how Jonathan Gannon could be?
Well, they have to keep it. Well, they got to get healthy, of course, like we said with Parsons and
Mhm.
Wyatt. But I think Gannon will be a good choice for him. I mean, Halfley did a nice job. He came in, he got him better. I'd like to see him be a little more aggressive. Now, Gannon blitzes a little bit more than Halfley did. He's still not a big. Well, it's funny, he didn't blitz much at all in Philly. I didn't see much of Arizona, I'll be honest. But when he was a
Yeah.
Philly defensive coordinator and he didn't blitz a lot. But from talking to guys in Philly about that, they said number one, he didn't have to. That's when they
Right.
had they led the league
Get
in
rushed
sacks.
for.
They had the fourth most sacks of any ever. It
Mm.
was third most until the Broncos passed him this year. So he didn't have to blitz. So he was getting enough pressure from Reddick and Graham and Davis and whoever else was up front then, Sweat. So he asked his linebackers to cover more. I think if you have Edgerrin Cooper at linebacker, you might want to blitz him a little bit, and I think you will. But he'll want pressure from the front four. He's a good secondary coach. He's gotten the most. That Eagles secondary that year wasn't special. It was okay. Darius Slay still. I forget who the safeties were. Gardner Johnson was one of them who had his best year ever.
Yep.
So he gets the most out of the secondary. As I was saying earlier, how they got to get better at corner. I think having a guy like Gannon, then he hired a pretty good secondary coach in Bobby Babich from the Bills. So that could go a long way in helping those corners. I want new ones, but if they can make the ones they have better, that works as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is you never know what's going to happen now with Gannon in there. I feel like I
Gannon's a
like
good
Gannon a
DC.
lot. I
do
like
like
him as a defensive minded guy. I think that's where he excels. I think he's going to help improve that Packers defense hands down.
Yeah, I think he's a better DC than he was. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he had
I
some
was
bad breaks in
You
Arizona.
can see that. Yeah.
I mean, last year, didn't
Yeah.
Arizona the first 7 games of the season, they lost. They went 2-5, but every game went down to the last play.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't help when your starting
Yeah.
quarterback goes down due to injury
Right.
and you have no offense after that.
It doesn't help when your guy is about to score a touchdown to put the game away against Tennessee and he drops the ball at the 1-yard line.
That doesn't
Yeah.
help either. A lot of mistakes. That's what we know.
Yeah, Arizona.
Yeah. Yep. And now they got a
Now they
young
got him
toddler
for his brother.
to be the head coach.
How kind of crazy is that? How crazy is this is how the NFL works though, right?
It is
The
insane.
Cardinals fire Gannon.
Yeah.
The Packers hire Gannon. And then the Cardinals hire the Packers coach's brother. Like it's just
Yeah,
a
yeah.
vicious circle, right?
That's how it goes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now we're gonna get to the big game, the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 60. I can't wait. Gonna be a great matchup. Seattle Seahawks, New England Patriots. In your opinion, what is the matchup that you can't wait to see? Whether it be trenches, whether it be wide receiver versus DB, offense versus defense. What do you think?
That's a good question. Top of my head, I think this is going to be great. If they go man to man, is Seattle wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba going against New England corner Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah.
They were they were 2 of my favorite players in their draft. They came out of the same draft.
In their class. Yep.
Yeah, they were 2 of my favorite players, and they both JSN took the big jump this year. When they made him they got rid of Metcalf and Lockett and made him number 1, and he showed that was a good move.
Mark.
There were guys I also liked that didn't work out. That one just those 2 are no brainers to me. But
Excellent.
and Gonzalez,
And
I like him a lot too. I mean, that wasn't the only people that
Yeah, he's good.
like him,
Yeah.
but that are going head to head in the Super Bowl. So I guess yeah, that's the one. I mean,
Okay.
it's gonna be a lot of matchups. I mean,
Yeah,
always
of course.
there's always
Of course.
Seattle's offensive line had a good year. So if they
Mhm.
give Darnold time, Seattle's going to score some points. I mean, Seattle's scored points all year. I mean, these
Yeah.
two teams. It's funny. I thought New England would be much improved, not this much improved. I thought they might be a wild card team, going from 4-13.
Yeah,
But,
I could
because
see that.
somebody asked me right before the season started, give me your two most improved teams. And New England was one of them. Carolina was the other for that matter. And they improved it. But I thought New England would be like Carolina, 9-8, 8-9, maybe fight for about, depending on
Right.
how things broke. Because I knew Vrabel would be Vrabel's just a really good coach, and him
Oh,
coming in
yeah.
there, and I thought May, would get better, and he got a lot better. And they made some good moves. They brought some people in, but I didn't think I never in a million years, even when the playoffs started, I didn't think they were going to get to the Super Bowl. I thought they'd be happy to be their kind of team, and
Yep.
I thought somebody would knock them off, and they got some breaks along the way too. If some guys didn't get hurt, maybe they wouldn't be there. But on other teams, we're talking about. And Seattle, that's a team that I also thought I didn't see them before the season being this good. I mean, I thought, they made the move for Darnold. They got rid of Geno Smith and brought in Darnold, which I thought was an upgrade. But I didn't think again the way like Darnold had a very good season for Minnesota last year, very good.
Yeah.
But he didn't look so great at when it counted, right? He
Right.
looked bad that last game of the year against Detroit when everything was on the line, and then he played very poorly in the playoff game in Arizona against the Rams when that neutral site because of the wildfires. So I wasn't 100% sold on Darnold. They got rid of Metcalf. They got rid of they made some moves. I thought I guess all right, they're a year away. They're going to build a little bit this year, but
Yeah.
damn, that young defense, just took off. Darnold had a very good season. Kenneth Walker, I always liked him. I do like Kenneth
Yeah.
Walker.
Mhm.
He had a good year for him. I expect a big game out of him Sunday too. I think he's going to be a big factor in the game.
Yeah, one thing that we know, this Super Bowl is going to be awesome. It's got loads of matchups at every level. And, when you look at these two teams, what they do have in common is they both have really good defenses. And you got these offenses now, with the New England Patriots and Drake May having these turnovers in the playoffs, but still managing to figure it out to get the wins. And then Seattle with Sam Darnold, who's been discounted, not believed in, and him to kinda rise up to where he is now in his first Super Bowl. It's pretty impressive what he's able to accomplish at this point. Likewise with Drake May in his early career. If Drake May ends up winning the Super Bowl, be the youngest quarterback to win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Pretty awesome. Sam Darnold could basically give a big FU to all the naysayers, that doubted him. But with both these offenses, we already know how good the defenses are, but which offense is gonna prevail over these tremendous defenses?
See, I think Seattle. I think Seattle wins the game. I just think it's their year. I think they're
Okay,
top to bottom. I think they're better than New England. Again, New England people. I don't want to in any way make this sound like I'm putting New England down because, like I
I
said,
gotcha.
Mhm.
you go from 4-13 to the Super Bowl. I don't care what happens in the Super Bowl. You went from 4-13.
Yeah.
No team has
Yeah.
ever lost 13 games one year and gone to the Super Bowl the next year. So
Yep,
that's a for no teams. So certainly no teams ever won it after doing that.
incredible.
Here's another little nugget for you. New England lost to the Raiders opening day. If you remember that game, they lost
Yeah,
to the
Mhm.
Raiders.
yep,
No team has ever lost to the team that got the number one pick and won a
yep,
And won the Super Bowl. Ah,
never had.
there you go. There you
I
go.
like it.
So they have a
Fact
chance
of
to
the
make
day.
history there as well. But I just think Seattle, this is a good team. I mean, when they beat the Rams in that crazy Thursday night game with the
Oh,
with the
man.
crazy
Mhm.
2-point conversion
Yeah,
and the punt return and this and
Yeah.
that. That night, I said to a couple of friends, we were out watching the game, and I just said, "This is Seattle's year. You win a game like this and a big game like that, top seed was on the line and all that." I said, "This is their year." I've seen teams that win games like this, and it's not like they were a fluke either. They're good. And like I said, I love JSN. I like Walker. Like I said, they have a real good offensive line. You know who else has been a big factor for them? Another guy that I always liked is Cooper Cup. I
Mhm.
mean, he made some
yep,
big plays in that Rams game, which I'm sure he loved.
Absolutely.
I know.
oh, I'm
Yeah,
sure they
add
made a
another
point.
veteran to the team.
Yeah, don't think JSN didn't learn from Cooper Cup either. I mean,
Mhm.
his emergence this year, give him all the credit for. But I mean, I'm sure Cup is being the veteran, being the guy that's been there, done that, won a Super Bowl MVP. I'm sure he's had an influence on a lot of those young guys on Seattle, but especially JSN.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's two both teams that again, if you looked at the beginning of the season, I don't think anybody really picked these 2 to be there at the end. So,
Oh, yeah.
right? Oh, I know. If you look at it, it's probably scary. It's ridiculous, but,
Probably something
um,
like 80-1.
At
yeah,
least,
yeah, but
right?
here we are. You're going Seattle, and
Yeah.
you know the question, the dumb question people are gonna ask after this, if New England loses, they're like, "Alright, was it a successful season for you then?" Or something like that, after,
Oh, God,
you know, you didn't
yes.
win. Like, "Are you stupid?"
If New England
He's
lost to Denver, it would have still been a successful
Yeah.
season.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
so
when they won the
absolutely,
division,
and
it was a successful I mean, they
yeah,
lost 13 games. 13 that's a lot of losses, 13
yeah,
losses. That's a bad team. When you lose 13 games, that's bad.
Buffalo was
No,
the darling, and then now they're not there,
yeah,
so here they are stepping up. Seattle in it again, like you said, that defense. I'm excited to see that matchup too as well. I feel like, JSN's, they're gonna mix him around. He's not just gonna stay in one
no,
spot, and so if you do see Christian Gonzalez on him, he is gonna move all over in the slot
right.
over and guard him
I
and follow
I
him up.
wonder if Gonzalez I don't think they will, but they might.
Yep.
Would
Right?
Gonzalez follow him? I don't know.
Yeah,
Vrabel,
watch.
but we'll see. Like you said, when am I watching? I'm watching that a little bit too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
typically, if they're gonna move Gonzalez around, it'd have to be man-to-man
Yeah.
coverage in
Yeah,
order for him to
yeah.
follow him around. So, yeah, like it's gonna be a fun time. But I did hear probably the dumbest question at the presser for the Super Bowl.
Alright. There's always
They
a couple.
were
Go ahead.
Yeah, they asked Mike Vrabel. They said, "Is this a must-win game?"
But sweet.
Kidding me?
Yeah,
That was a
it's
legitimate
just a
question.
yeah. It's like, who let this guy in there,
Who
I
let him
mean,
in?
just you
Get him
remove his
out of here.
credentials or whatever he has, you gotta go.
It gets
Um,
worse every year. I covered, what,
Uh,
12 Super Bowls, I think it was in my career,
yeah,
and it used to be like everything else, it got each year got progressively, you know,
yeah,
dumber, I guess, for lack of a
yeah,
better I don't know.
yeah,
But it just
yeah,
more and more, like, more and more the more people that cover the team, that cover the
and
game,
more.
the more chance you get of a guy asking something like that.
Yeah. So there you go. You're going with the Seattle
Yeah, I'm going
Seahawks.
Seattle.
We are talking to Mark Eckel. He writes for Sports Talk Media currently right now, and you're also on the Pack a Day podcast too. You
Right.
specialize on that too as
Every
well,
Thursday.
right?
Every Thursday, Jason Perone and I do, like, Pack Day comes out every day, but I'm on Thursday.
nice.
Thursday. There you go. You can check them out there. Last question before we leave. I got
Sure.
to ask you too, because I know a lot of people have their routines or what they're going to do for Super Bowl as well. We had Roderick David on the other night, and he says, well, he's going to be there watching it with all the sound on and the commentary, which he doesn't really appreciate and want, but his family's going to be around him. So that's what he's going to do. Normally, he would just watch it with the volume down and just analyze everything and did see it himself. What is your routine for the Super Bowl? Are you doing anything special even for this one?
Well, since I moved down here to North Myrtle Beach, my best friend down here has a Super Bowl party every year.
Oh,
So I'll
nice.
be at his house. They count on me to put out a little Super Bowl prop pool. I make it
Hey,
simple. I make it so
Yeah,
like that the ladies can get in, like, and I shouldn't say it that way. People are
man.
I make it so people that don't follow football as close as others still have a good chance to win. Like, will the coin come up heads or tails?
Gotcha.
50
Yeah.
50 chance.
Sounds
Who's
awesome.
who's going to score first?
Excellent.
Who's going to score last? And then of course who's going to win? What else? Like, there's some fun things in there. Like, will a team go for a 2 point? Well, either team go for 2 point conversion. Last year when the Chiefs were in it, I always asked one of the questions was, how fat is Andy Reid? I,
Yeah,
How
I
many
have fun.
cheeseburgers?
nice. That's cool. That's
So it's
cool. When
fun.
when
So
squares
I
get
do that.
boring, there you go.
And he lives right down the street from me, so it's a short little drive.
Really?
Excellent.
Yeah, so that's
Excellent.
where I'll be. Now, if the Packers were in it, I wouldn't be there. I'd stay home because I'd have to work. I'd have to write and follow it, so I'd
Mhm.
have to be more concentrated on the game. I thought I
Uh,
would with the Eagles
uh,
last year, but I said, "Ah, the hell with 'em. I'll still go."
yeah,
Well, I don't really write about the Eagles anymore. People
yeah,
call me and ask me about them, but
yeah. Do
that's
you
my
find it better just to be able to watch the game and enjoy it instead of just follow it and
coverage.
try to watch to write about it, or
I would want to. I'm as a Packer fan, I wouldn't mind the Packers being in there. I would give up the fun to
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I don't miss. People ask me that all the time when I'm out just watching a game. Do I miss being there? I don't know how many games I covered. I didn't miss a game from home or away from 1988 to 16. So that's what,
Wow.
28 years.
Wow,
I mean, that's a lot of
a
games.
lot of games.
People ask me all the time, "Hey, don't you miss?" If I missed it, I'd still be doing it. I didn't
Yeah.
get fired. I retired. I left on my own. That's a lot of games. I don't know. I don't think I owe anybody anything. I listen. I loved it when I did it, but it's fun now. Like just like you said, not having to
Yeah.
watch
Mhm.
intently and take down every note and interview
Yeah.
after the game. Now the game ends. I go home and take it easy or hang out and have another beer.
There you go.
So,
Nice, excellent. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Eckel joining us. Are you on socials on
yeah.
X? Do you have an X account?
Mark Eckel 08.
All right, there you go, Mark Eckel
And
08.
I'm on
Thank you so
Facebook
much
as
for
well.
joining us.
I'm on Facebook as well. Just Mark
Oh,
Eckel. If you need
excellent.
to know.
All right, there you go. Thank you so much for joining us. We had a lot of fun. It was great having you on. Hopefully, we can have
Thank
you
you.
on in the future too.
Let me
Talk
know.
about some of the other teams for next season. Absolutely.
Maybe right before the draft or something. Whenever you guys need
All
me, let
right,
me know. You know how to get a hold
All
of
excellent.
right,
me.
Mark.
All right. Take
Thanks,
care,
man.
Thank you
guys.
so much. We
All right.
appreciate
Take
you.
care.
All
All
right,
right.
take care.
Hey everybody, this is William Del Pilar, founder of Grumblings Media, and I want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our all-volunteer efforts at Grumblings Media, smash the subscribe button right here. 100% free, and please consume and share our great content. Click either one of these two boxes for more of our work.